Hi. So, Hexagram is an international network for research creation in art, culture, and technology based in Montreal, Quebec. Research creation is a term that originated in the late 1990s in the province of Quebec, then spread to the rest of Canada, which entangles discursive, traditional academic research with creative material production. Research creation is a policy. It is a form of research recognized by the main bodies of research at the provincial and federal level in Canada. And the network is funded by the Fonds de Recherche Société et Culture du Québec, so the Research Fund for Society and Culture in Quebec, and also by through some of the partnering institution UQAM and Concordia. So the network unites a large group of co-researchers, so co-researcher members who are all active professors in different universities across Quebec. There's 46 co-investigator members. A third are at UQAM, the university I work at, which is a French university, one of the four universities in Montreal. And another third is at Concordia University, which is where Chris Salter is, was until recently based. So those are the two partner institutions. But there's also a number of other institutions across Quebec where there's also co-investigator members at Université de Montréal and McGill University. Those are the two other universities in Montreal. The Université du Québec à Chicoutimi and École NAD, Université du Québec en Abitibi-Témiscamingue, Université Laval, and École de Technologie Supérieure, Superior Technology School. There's also the main membership actually is made constituted of students. There's more than 180 student members who are attached, supervised by co-investigators, often through co-directions. And there's also 45 local and international collaborators, so it's also not just based in Quebec, and not just co-researchers, there's also institutional partnerships who are members. So we celebrated last year our 20 years. So it's been this is the third cycle of funding that we've been having. So of course the network has evolved across all these years. Our goals, our mission is to first support and demonstrate research creation practices across arts, culture, and technologies, to establish and consolidate research relationships between artistic and scientific disciplines, and also to promote and share expertise in research creation with professional, milieu, and cultural organizations. So I will let now the co-director, Chris Salter, present our program for the Rencontre Interdisciplinaire 2021-2022.
So many of you know that Isaiah 2020 was held in Montreal. Manuelle Freire was the academic program manager, who's our general coordinator now, and I was the co-chair of the academic conference. And out of that came thinking about what to do in Hexagram. And because that was focused on questions of sensing and sense-making, we established a year-long program on the topic of emergency, or emergence and emergency, given the state of the world. So, of course, in 2021, it's a cliche to say we're living through unprecedented times. We were looking, of course, at the context of both the the COVID world and the post-COVID world. And so the combination between the pandemic, the fallout, economic and political fallout, the continuing ecological crises, of course, but also the kind of explosion of systemic injustice and inequality in the United States, but also other places, gave us a kind of framing to trying to think about a year-long program of activities around these thematics. And Hexagram had never done a year-long thematic program. We started from this quote from Michelle Murphy, who some of you know is a quite well-known science and technology studies scholar at the University of Toronto, who wrote that, quote, assemblies of technical practices have generated not only facts, but also speculative phenomena that are a felt part of the world, even if intangible. How do speculative social science, and we inserted the question of how might research creation practices produce a world where undecided futures may be brought into the present? And Murphy refers to this as a kind of concept of technoscience dreaming. So we tried to grapple with Murphy's statement and question and say, okay, in an uncertain world, or an increasingly uncertain world, how might this concept of research creation enable us to dream and trial other futures? So in order to respond to that, we put out a call across the network for a series of activities, which just completed 33 across the last calendar year, academic year of 2022, starting with the Ars Electronica in September last year, and then carrying on to activities that just concluded. And we wanted, of course, the term troubled times is coming up again and again. We wanted to try to address that question. And so we put out a call for researchers and students in the network for contributions that included seminars, artistic works, and I'll talk at the end about a publication. So these are the 33, from the website, 33 projects, and Manuelle Freire will now discuss some of them specifically.
So in the time for this short institutional presentation we had, I had to select, I invite you to visit the dedicated website that contains documentation of all the activities that were conducted, but today we're going to briefly discuss 4 of them. And the first one is actually collaborative by Alice Jarry, who we had here with us at Isaiah, so who better to speak of their own word than Alice.
Thank you, Manuelle. So hi everyone, I'm a Hexagram co-investigator. So Fossilation is a 7 meters long installation made of bioplastic or food waste biomass. So the piece was presented at the Matière d'Image exhibition held at the Centre Pompidou in Paris in February 2021, a show curated by Géraldine Gomez. And the project was co-directed by myself and Samuel Bianchini and Marie-Pierre Boucher. And it was carried out during the pandemic and involved a collective of researcher and student researcher from Hexagram, coming from 3 reference institutions in the field of research creation, Concordia University in Montreal, École des Arts Décoratifs in Paris, and University of Toronto. So the installation investigates the ecological imprint of images and their condition of production and dissemination. So Fossilation explores 2 concepts, the idea of residue, defined as something that's been excluded or lost from the process history of a system, and the idea of a membrane, understood as a translation layer which converts, adapts, and conveys information from one milieu to the other. So the piece is designed as a large transparent canvas that hovers over the ground in the Pompidou Center, and its bright color is made from onion peels. It's slightly animated, and its variable thickness generates different patterns of images. So this band recalls a sort of film strip, but it's not about shooting images, it's about imprinting obsolete electronic devices onto bioplastic surfaces. So the piece offers a critical response to the traditional viewpoint of extractive industries that sustain image production. And Fossilation is conceived in dialogue with the museum, with the Pompidou architecture, and it's imagined as a system that adapts and evolves over time. So the membrane basically is connected by the building through 69 Peltier cell sensors and also piezo sensors. And it's meant to attend to the energy flow of the building and convert all the heat waves, vibration, traffic, and different energy sources of the building into electricity to power the piece and interfere with the image patterns. So after that description, I think Manuelle will continue.
Merci, Alice. The video goes on, but I'm just going to, I think I had to do escape. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. going to move on to the next project. Okay. So another project that was conducted in the framework of Emergency was the project Nuage, which brought together researchers and students from 3 of our partner universities. It is based on the research of recently graduated master students Marie-Ève Bilodeau on tangible interfaces. So the project was presented in the full dome of Société des Arts Technologiques in Montreal in early May 2022, when different groups and individuals created visual, immersive scenarios and sound spatialization works that reacted to the cloud tactical interface that Marie-Ève is holding there. So a full paper about this project was presented yesterday here at Isaiah. Another project, also from earlier months in this year, was the Wikwamo residencies. This was a 3-day residency organized by Jean-Ambroise Vezac from UQAC, Université du Québec en Abitibi-Témiscamingue. This is a regional university in northern Quebec. This was organized in collaboration with Le Petit Théâtre de Rouyn-Noranda, so a local theater, and Manuelle, which is a cultural organization dedicated to the development and transmission of Anishinaabe culture. So we gathered with members of the First Nations community to explore strategies and digital technologies that can be deployed for the transmission of tangible and intangible heritage. So several ideas we investigated was how we can use games or augmented reality to foster the transmission and the teaching of the Anishinaabe language. So in these 3 days, there was an exchange of knowledge from the local community. So we learned about the importance of the local resources that are used in the Anishinaabe culture, while we exchanged with them with the technological knowledge on how these can be deployed to help the development of Anishinaabe culture. This idea, this is the last project I'll summarize, the relationship with Minwashin resulted in a colloque that was organized. We invited 30 participants to present their intersectorial and international case studies of research creation. And the idea of this day was to exchange about the stakeholders of sharing knowledge across sectors and across communities of practice. So this is all documented in the Emergency website. The Emergency program of activities ended in June, but the theme will continue through 2023 with a publication project that I'll let Chris introduce.
So just the final word is this publication project. So basically, we wanted to essentially gather the knowledge that was developed over the last year. So we put out a call across, again, the network to develop an edited edition that we're proposing to the MIT Press that deals with the emergency theme, but again, through this filter of research creation across the network, which, as we've said, is a 20-year-old network, one of the oldest, let's say, media art, research, technology, and digital culture networks anywhere. And what's very interesting is the process, because that will be an edited volume that will be edited by 4 people, one of them which is a PhD student. We got a mix between about 28 proposals that were then sent out to an external committee of peer reviewers, as well as an internal committee of peer reviewers, both in French and in English. Those have come back, and now we are making selections, and this student who's working on the project will, of course, developing the proposal. We're providing peer review to those students who did not get accepted, or to those researchers that did not get accepted. And so this is a very important part of Hexagram and our research creation, which is this training the next generations to be able to move between artistic practice, scholarly production, and also, you might say, community pursuits, both at the local level and at the global level. Thanks very much.